Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution episode, I think 1476. I didn't check, but I think we're at 1476. Happy Tuesday. Still got it. I am feeling a little, despite the way I sound, I am feeling a little better. I still sound crappy. I'm still coughing. There's still shit coming up. Ugh. That's gross. So yeah. So despite feeling better, I'm not better. Day 11 of this crap. But getting over it. So yeah, it's Tuesday. So programming note this week, Dan, especially Korean Cardboard, Dan, he's gonna go to bed, but before you go to bed, I'm gonna be no show Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because I'm going to be at a wedding. I'm going to be at a wedding, Dan, later this week. So there's not going to be a Hobby Evolution Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I think I'm going to do some eBay lives while I'm in Florida because I was looking up card shops. I don't want to go on a wild goose chase looking for card shops. So I think I'm going to do a live sometime during the day, Friday, and possibly even Saturday. So I'm going to bring the filming for eBay Live is done with your phone. So all I need to do is bring my tripod. I'll have my phone with me. I'm going to bring my laptop anyway, because I'm going to be doing work while I'm there, and a box of cards. That's all I need. I'm not going to bring my photo box. I'm just going to, hopefully my mother-in-law's house has something I can use for, so I can put cards up. Maybe I'll figure out something. I could probably just use a cardboard box. I could probably just use a cardboard box and in one of these sheets, one of these like black background sheets. That would probably work. So yeah, I'm going to try to go live on eBay a couple days while I'm in Florida, Friday, Saturday, I think. Speaking of eBay Live, we did an eBay Live yesterday. Great success. My sales are now, I'm aiming for 40% growth year over year. I am now up 47%. eBay Live has just has been performance enhancing drugs for my eBay business. It's the eBay Live has been steroids, which is great. So and we want to continue that trend, keep it going. My volume sold is up 9% year over year. My average sales price is up 20%. Obviously, my auction prices are way up. My fixed price down 20% this year over year. But I've probably listed a dozen things in the last month because I'm doing mostly eBay Live. So where's my screen at? So that's why my fixed prices are way down. So, what else is going on? It's man, it feels like October here. It was cold and overcast yesterday. Today it's raining. We need the rain though. We always need the rain. I always say that. I can tell when we need rain because the pond is like really low. So we need some rain. Boost that pond up. I haven't put my garden in May 20, and I'm not going to this week because it's just going to be, well, I'm running out of time. It's Tuesday. So I'm not going to put my garden in this week. I thought about maybe putting it in Wednesday, tomorrow, but we'll see. Just kind of depends on what I have. I've got a mess to clean up in here. I think I'm going to do an eBay Live tonight because I don't want to go I don't want to go several days between lives, especially at this stage of the game where I'm in this growth process and I'm attaining customers, because the more sellers that get onboarded, the more competition I have. And I want to bring those customers to me so they choose my eBay live stream as opposed to somebody else's. So I feel it's imperative to do as many live streams and sales auctions as I can right now. So we'll see. But I think I'm going to do a live tonight at 7. I'll get that scheduled today. And then I've got a mess to clean up in here. Boxes everywhere. There was something I was going to touch on. Now I can't remember what it was. The hell was I going to touch on? I was looking over here and it dawned on me. Now I fail to remember. So yeah. So Madison Card Show. I was working on Madison Card Show stuff last night. June 21st. All new venue for June. It's at the Alliant Energy Center inside Exhibition Hall. Parking is free. Free parking. Normally it's $8. There will be some Madison Card Shows where there will be $8 parking in the future. Potentially the next one in August. So once we get through this, I'll keep you posted. But I am paying the parking expense. $5 admission, but it gets you free parking. So suck it up, Buttercup. 250 tables. Dealer tables will be going on sale this week. I am awaiting approval from the city for the floor plan. So that's why tables are not able to be booked. If you've been a dealer at the Saturday Madison Card Shows, I'm going to use air quotes, you're in, but you still need to book your tables. And I will be sending that information out this week. So there's going to be plenty to go around. Dealers that have been with me will get first pick of the tables, and then we'll open it up to essentially the public or the non-regulars. There's going to be a separate sports room. There's going to be a separate Pokemon room based on demand. The Pokemon room has more tables. That's just, I could fill this venue with Pokemon. So that's why the Pokemon room is larger. So I will be sending out booking links. Booking will be done online. I know that's a change, but it's a necessary change for this event because I think I've put more work into this one show than I have in the last 4 years of the Madison Card Show at the Sheraton. So bear with me. But this is also the first one, and I feel like I'm only like 30% through because I still have to get marketing materials, signage, and all that stuff. So it's kind of a pain, but we'll get through it. There is a July show. It's a 2-day weekend at the Madison Card Show at the Sheraton Hotel in July. It's the Saturday, Sunday before the National. Saturday will be the standard sports and TCG show. Sunday will be TCG only. I will open up booking within the next couple of weeks. Pokemon show booking will go the same as we did the last month for April. The Saturday show will be the same. The regulars are in, and then the leftover tables I'll book. So that's Madison Card Show stuff. MadisonCardShow.com. If you want any information, please email me, MadisonCardShow@gmail.com. That's the one-stop shop for communication. Just because I'm dealing with my vendor list now is nearing 400 emails, and most of my regulars have not emailed me. So I've got to go out and follow up with people and say, hey, please email me. So this makes my life a lot easier. I feel like if I have to I'm going to add a surcharge. If I have to track you down, you're paying $20 more for a table just because of my time. So I appreciate those that have emailed me. Thank you so much. Anybody else, please email me, madisoncardshow@gmail.com. Check out madisoncardshow.com for updates, information, schedule. I am keeping it updated now. For the first time in 4 years, I am keeping the website updated. So Madison Card Show, Saturday, June 21st at the Alliant Energy Center, 250 dealer tables, which go on sale later this week. And I don't want to put those on sale now because I don't want to get an email saying the city didn't approve this floor plan, so we have to do this, this, and this. And then all of a sudden I have to go chase down whoever booked those tables. Hey, I've got to cancel these. So that's why we're waiting. So I know it's a pain, but it's a pain for me as well. So deal with it because I have to. We're going to suffer through this together. What else is going on? I think that's about it. Let's go to the chat. Where we at? Low Roller's here. What's up? He says you're late again. So does Red Light. I am. I don't have a time anymore. Now that I'm working like around the clock, I don't care. I'm sorry. I don't care. 7 a.m. It's not going to be 7 a.m. anymore. It's going to be whenever I damn feel like it. So deal with it. Andy Mack, what's going on? 7.5 days of school left. Dan says, hey, I'm off to bed. Have a good day. You as well. SoCal guy, good morning from the West Coast. Unicorn Cupcake is here. Good morning. Jaden, what's up? Good morning. Any comments on all the complaints and issues with Car Dealer Pro as of late? Thanks. No comment. I don't care. You're getting salty, Bo, today. But I do want to tell you, Hobby Evolution Facebook group is not the place to bitch about Car Dealer Pro issues because nothing's going to get done. That is not a proper channel to. You can bitch about it, sure. But nothing's going to get done in the Hobby Evolution Facebook group because I've seen the posts and I ignore them because nobody in that group is on the tech side of cardealerpro.com. Go through the proper channels. If you have issues with Car Dealer Pro, here you go. I'm going to share my screen. I have not had any issues, but I'm also not using it that much. And I use it randomly. So I know if you're in it all day, every day, maybe you have issues, but I haven't had any issues, but I'm also not using it very much. So here you go, cardealerpro.com. If you're having issues, don't go to Facebook because nobody's going to listen to you except other people that are going to say, yeah, it's not working for me either. And nothing's going to get done. So go over here to Car Dealer Pro and it's feedback. I think it's feedback. What type of message is this? Do you have a question? Do you have feedback? Do you have a bug? All right, you have a bug. It's not working for you. Here you go. All of this information. And then you can type in and you can bitch all you want. But do it to Car Dealer Pro because they'll actually listen. Nobody on Facebook or Twitter, blowout forums, they're not going to listen. Car Dealer Pro is not going to be looking at all these random Facebook groups. So there you go. Complain to the source. Philly Joe, good morning. Gem City Card Show, what's up? Good morning. Bring the couch at least. That's a good point. I will bring the couch. Because I do have to bring something for a card stand. So I will bring the couch. Low Roller has a new video today. Check it out. Low Roller Scratcher. Mikey, what's up? Good morning. I'm about to head to the hospital for surgery. I'm really nervous. That sucks, but it should go okay. Well wishes to Mikey on his surgery today. Gem City says, a white wall works. LOL. Mikey, you're going to do well. Have faith and God bless. Our Sizzles taking a drink. eBay Live. Take another. Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive. Take another. Michael Renicky, what's going on? Good morning. Philly Joe says LRS proved that cards is a better investment than skill games. Thanks, LRS. Finally post a brand new video today. I'm late, and Low Roller says he puts out 2 to 3 videos a week, which is a blatant lie because it's probably been 3 months. Low Roller found sports cards at Walgreens. Peter's in the house. Good morning. Unicorn Cupcake says, nice love card to Low Roller Scratcher. Tracy, good morning. The different types of video in my channel. George is here. Good morning. So the title I have today, it says, the hobby really changed in the last 40 years. I was watching, I was doing some shipping late last night, and I was watching Mike's retro podcast, and they were talking about, I think it was kind of a response video to Jeff Wilson. And I haven't seen the Jeff Wilson video, but I've seen some like chatter about it. So maybe I'll put it on at some point today. But so I don't know exactly what was going on, but I have opinions about everything. So I wanted to talk about this, and I'm like, you know what, as I'm like listening through this, like on the surface, the hobby has absolutely changed in the last 40 years. There's no denying that. But at the core, has the hobby really changed? The hobby itself, outside of shiny autographs, relics, it hasn't really changed much. At the core, collectors are still collecting and flippers are still flipping. There were flippers 40 years ago. There were certainly collectors 40 years ago. There are still collectors today. And as we all well know, I'm one of them. There are flippers in today's hobby. 40 years ago, there were chases. Now, they weren't autographs. They weren't superfractors 40 years ago, but we chased the 89 Fleer Billy Ripken F-Face. We were clearing shelves in 1989. I know this for a fact. My brother, I remember because I was 7 years old. And in 1989, I was like, that was when I was first buying packs of cards with my measly allowance money. And I could go to the grocery store, the IGA up the street, and buy a couple packs of baseball cards. And then here's my brother, by the way, is much older than me. My brother would buy 3 boxes. He would like order. He would talk to the owner of the grocery store and be like, hey, can you order like 10 boxes of 89 Fleer? Because he was chasing the 89 Fleer Billy Ripken fuck face card. Let's drop the F. I'm salty today. Let's drop the F-bomb. I think I'm salty because I'm still like hacking up mucus and blowing my nose, and it's day 11 of this bullshit. That's why I'm salty. So my brother would clear the shelves of 89 Fleer looking for this F-face Billy Ripken. We were chasing I wasn't, because I couldn't afford $1 packs of Upper Deck in 1989, Ken Griffey Jr. But I remember like chasing rookie cards and you know, what else was a chase from products that I could afford at least. 89 Fleer for sure, but Griffey, 89 Donruss, chasing that rated rookie Griffey. So we were clearing shelves 40 years ago. We were, the biggest complaint we see in the hobby today, I think, is I'm priced out. No, you're not. No, you're not priced out. Go to a card show, and I bet you there's a 25-cent box. Are you priced out of the quarter boxes? Do you have $1 to buy 4 or 5 cards? Dealer might even let you buy 6 for $1. You're not priced out of the hobby. You're priced out of what you want, but so are many of us on things we want. That's been something. Grab an old Beckett magazine you can grab one of the first year's Beckett's whenever they started Reader's Right, 1985, 1986. Grab a Beckett. I guarantee you, people are, and I've read many of them, people are bitching about the prices of cards. Oh my God, 50 cents for a pack of baseball cards. That's what my dad used to say in 1989. These were a nickel. And that's what my dad said. They were a nickel when I was a kid. That's 10x. 10x now, 50 cents to $5 doesn't seem too bad. We're always going to bitch about prices. It doesn't matter. Baseball cards, gas, milk, eggs. Are people still bitching about the price of eggs? Maybe Trump lowered the price of eggs. I don't know. We're always going to bitch about prices. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how much they are. There's going to be a shiny new product that people want, and it's going to be high priced, and people are going to be priced out of the hobby. That doesn't change, and it won't change in another 40 years. In another 40 years, I'll be on you. That's a poor old man voice. I'll be on YouTube in 40 years. I'll be 83, 82, 83 years old. Gosh, I remember when blaster boxes were only $35. Now they're $300. We're going to be bitching about prices. It is what it is. And you got to pivot. I love Bowman, but I pivoted. I still buy Bowman, but I buy the blaster boxes. I'm not paying $300 for a hobby box of Bowman. I remember when Bowman went to $100 a hobby box, and that's when I stopped buying hobby boxes. Now, I've bought a couple here and there, and how many times? Take a drink, because I've said this several times. 2017 Bowman. I paid $797 for 12 hobby boxes, a case, a sealed case of 2017 Bowman. I paid $797. And then in 2018, we had Ohtani. Ohtani was in Bowman. I think that was the first product he was in 2018. Or did he get a Series 1 card, and that was like some of the, I don't know. But anyway, there was a chase in 2018 Bowman. And prices, I don't think it went quite to 100, but it was damn close to $100 for a hobby box from one year to the next. Paying less than what I pay, $65. And I think it went to like 80 or 90. And I'm like, I'm not paying that. I started buying, and then I go clear the shelves of blaster boxes for back then. Remember when hot blaster boxes were $20? I'd go clear the shelves at Walmart, $20 Bowman blaster boxes. And I did a lot better than a couple hobby boxes. We're always going to complain about prices, but we can't control it. Well, we kind of can, not on our own, not individually, but collectively. If you don't like the price of Bowman hobby boxes, don't buy it. But there's so many people out there, and I don't buy Bowman hobby boxes. Unfortunately, my decision to not buy hobby boxes of Bowman hasn't brought the prices down. And I'm sure there's several other people just like me that have stopped buying hobby boxes of Bowman as well. Bowman mega boxes. I used to clear the shelves if I could of Bowman mega boxes. And hell, at $15 back in 2018, those were a steal. Now they're $50. And back then in 2018, 2019, I'm like, I'd pay $40 for a mega box. But things change. And it's not shiny and new anymore. It was back then. And now it's like $40. It went to $40 a year or two ago. And I'm like, that's kind of the tipping point. You know, 35 was kind of the sweet spot. I think $35 for Bowman mega boxes. And that's what I thought back in 2018 when I was paying $15. I'm like, you know, these should be more than $15. Yeah, give me them all. And I'm like, man, I'd pay $40 for these. But then as the years go on, it gets not as new and shiny and fun, and return on investment dips a little bit. But in 2018, 2019, it's like, I'd pay $40 for a box of these. And as time went on, it's like, maybe not 40, but I'd pay 30. You know, they creep up to $20. And then they got to 30. It's like, I'll still buy them. That's like the sweet spot. $30 was the sweet spot. And then it went to 40, and I'm like, I'm out. $40, and now it's 50, and I'm certainly out at 50. So you just pivot. And I don't miss, and here's the thing, I don't miss opening Bowman mega boxes. What I do miss, and this is what I think everybody gets upset about, what I do miss is paying $15 and turning that $15 into $75 because they were good boxes, great return on investment. It wasn't the cards. It was the money. And that's always been the case. Now, maybe in the 1950s, 1960s, even creeping into the 1970s, it wasn't really about the money as much as it was in the 1980s, and then certainly the 1990s, and absolutely today. And I don't think we actually have hard proof, concrete, scientific evidence on how many collectors are there today, how many collectors were there in 1990. But I remember going to card shows and card shops in the early 1990s. It was all about the money. And we look back with rose-colored glasses on the junk wax era when many of us were youths in the late 80s, early 90s. And I don't know about you, but when I opened a pack of cards, you know the first thing I did? I'm 8, 9, 10 years old. The first thing I did, pull a Ken Griffey Jr. I'd go to my Beckett magazine. This is worth $1.25. It was always about the money for me. Now, I know for others, building sets and all that, and I did that. I built sets and stuff, but man, it for me, like almost from the jump, almost from the get-go, baseball cards equaled money to me. It was always a commodity. Cards were always a commodity. Did I love cards and do I love cards today? Hell yeah. But I also love selling them and making a profit and making a living doing it now. But it was always about the money. I can't remember a time in my childhood where it was not, the cards were not about the money. Now, did I actually make money on cards when I was 10 years old? Actually, when I was 10, a little bit. That was 92. I was absolutely doing some deals as I was 10 years old. Maybe in 89 when I was 7 and 8 years old. I don't think I wasn't hustling at that age. 8 maybe. But not in 1989. That might have been the only time in my life. 1989. I was buying packs because I thought cards were cool. I put them in a binder. But then I discovered Beckett price guides and I'm like, whoa, these pictures of baseball players are worth money, according to this magazine. Then I got a harsh dose of reality when I went to the card shop expecting to get $1.25 out of that Ken Griffey Jr. card. And the card shop owner says, well, that's the Beckett high price. I can't pay that. I'd pay you 35 cents because I've got to keep the lights on or whatever card shop owners say. I'm like, well, shit, that sucks. Like 35 cents. I paid 50 cents for the pack of cards. Well, but the rest of the stuff's not worth anything. The card shop guy doesn't want Nelson Santovenia. What am I going to do with the rest? Did I lose money on this pack of cards? Huh. What else has changed in the last 40 years? We talked about the chases, clearing shelves of those 89 Fleer looking for the Ripken. The prices, they've always been high. Doesn't matter if a pack of card was a nickel. I'm sure the parents of kids in the 1950s were pissed off if they spent their allowance money on probably only got a quarter. You bought 5 packs of baseball cards and all you do is put them in your spokes of your bicycle? That's a month's salary. So really nothing's changed in the hobby in the last 40 years. Oh, one thing that I did want to talk about that was brought up. So this was in Mike's retro YouTube channel. And one thing they did bring up, they were talking about, oh shit, what was it? It was something about opening packs. Something about opening packs. And Mark, you're late. Just like me. It was, something about, is opening packs more exciting today than it was 30 years ago, 40 years ago? And this is something that I'm not, I think this was in response to Jeff Wilson's video, which I need to watch. And I don't think you can compare. I don't think you can compare the two, especially for those that are my age. If you're in your 40s, even in your late 30s, mid to late 30s, 40s, into your 50s, and grew up in at least from my era, if you were opening packs, especially if you were a kid growing up at that time, because it's a completely different animal. Is opening packs today more exciting than it was in 1990? I give it an incomplete. Unicorn Cupcake, boom, I'm going to post this. I'm going to get to some of the chats here in a second, but Unicorn Cupcake nailed it. It's all relative. You can't compare it. You can't compare the excitement of opening packs today to 1990 for multiple reasons. And number one is the mirror. Look in the mirror. Do you look the same as you did in 1990? Are you thinking the same things in your brain in 2025 that you were thinking in 1990? That's number one. And opening packs today may or may not be as exciting in your own mind as it was 35, 40 years ago. I thought opening packs was the greatest thing on earth in 1990. I think the same today. When you do it in volume, it becomes less exciting. Open a case of Tops, and I bet you it gets pretty boring. Today, does that mean it was more exciting in 1990? No, it was even less exciting. If you opened a case, now it's all relative. Because I was 8 years old in 1990. Opening a whole box of cards was like, that'll never happen. I'll never be able to afford a whole box of packs of baseball cards. Even if it was Tops, I would have had so much fun doing it. Now, I open a box of Tops today, I find the same joy and excitement. In many cases, it's more exciting because in 1990, the biggest card you're going to hit is a Rookie Gold Cup Ken Griffey Jr. A base card. Today, you could pull a Ken Griffey Jr. autograph. That's more exciting. But it's all relative, like Unicorn Cupcake said. I was 8 years old in 1990. We didn't have autographs in packs. I think maybe 90 was when the Reggie Jackson, but I mean, those early autographs that you could pull from a packs were like, I mean, it's not like you go by, it's not like today where every box has an autograph for the most part, but it's all relative because we didn't have anything to compare it to. Now we do. Does that make now more or less exciting? I think it all depends on you, and you got to really take into account you were 8 years old at that point in time. Now you're 40. It's a lot different. Products are a lot different. Your thought process is a lot different. So that's one thing. It's like, it's not even comparable. To say whether you're on one side of the fence or the other is not relevant. To say card opening packs are more exciting today than they were 40 years ago, it's incomplete. Because there's so much that goes into it. But I will tell you that as an 8-year-old, opening packs of cards was the greatest thing ever in the hobby. And today, when I get those Bowman, like I feel like I'm 8 years old again. When those Bowman blasters arrived on my doorstep 2 weeks ago, I was just as excited as I was in 1990, bringing home a few packs of baseball cards from the IGA. That excitement didn't change. The contents certainly changed. Let's go to some of the chats. So you're getting salty, Bo, today because I'm still dealing with this crud, so I'm just salty. Unicorn Cupcake says Bo is transforming into John Keating at an alarming rate. Where is John Keating? He's not here today. That dude from Duryea says David Robinson hoops rookie was a chase. Philly Joe says your boy hit his 300th Schwarbomb last night. Hit the facing of the upper deck. Let's go Phillies. First place in the East. I love Kyle Schwarber, and I love him more with every home run. I just talked about this the other day. I think there's no guarantees in life, but Kyle Schwarber, and I think Kyle Schwarber has the, outside of the freak injury he had in 2016, I mean, this dude is built to play into his 40s and stay relatively healthy for the rest of his career. And I think 500 home runs for Kyle Schwarber is market down. And I think he has an outside shot at 600. Now, 600, he's got to play into his early 40s, and he's got to maintain like a 30 home run average. But, he's already at 16 home runs, and it's May 20th. So he could hit 50 this year. So I think Schwarber is definitely going to hit 500 career home runs, and he's got a shot at 600. Found Treasures, what's going on? Good morning. Low Roller says, what do you think of my new video? I'll check it out. Shane says, Salty Bo, let's effing go. Let's go. Orlando, what's going on? Good morning. Can't believe the Marlins came back to beat the Cubs last night. Great game for us Marlins fans. It's baseball's such a roller coaster. And I have a group chat where we dissect every little at-bat pitch transaction with the Cubs. And I think what was I doing? I think I was working on the website, the Madison Card Show, MadisonCardShow.com. I was working on the website last night, and so I didn't have the game on. And I get messages in my group chat, and it's like, well, this game's blah, 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 blah. And so I'm like, oh, shit. So I check the score. It's the fucking third inning. Like, guys, come on. What's up, buddy? Hey, come here. You want to say hi? Come on. Gotcha. I got him. Ernie wanted to come down and say hi. Oh, what's Mom? Mom's looking for you, buddy. Say hi. Where's Mom? Where's Mom? All right. So it's like the third inning. What are you doing? And then the Cubs come back, and after the sixth inning, it looks like the Cubs are going to win. And then bottom of the ninth, Daniel Palencia comes in. So then, of course, there's Cubs fans, and I would imagine like every fan base has these, where it's you win and you're on top of the world, you lose and you start playing the blame game. And in a game, it's like somebody was blaming Counsell. It's like, don't blame Counsell. And it's not solely on Palencia, who gave up the 2 runs in the 9th inning. Don't give up 8 fucking runs. If you give up 8 fucking runs, you're probably not going to win the game. So let's blame the pitching collective for giving up 8 runs. The offense did their job. 7 runs should win you baseball games. But giving up 8, probably going to lose you baseball games. Gem City says, Bo on the bully pulpit, and I'm here for it. Dead Dude says, people in the hobby will always bitch about new things, prices, grading, production issues, allocations, breakers, checklists, napkin relics, etc. The one constant is someone wants the cards. Absolutely. Nothing has changed. Just as that dude from Duryea points it all out, all of those things were bitched about 40 years ago. All of those things are bitched about today, and all of those things will be bitched about in another 40 years. Low Roller says Pokemon is more collector than sports cards today. Jody, good morning. Max says grading, breaking, and amount of products available. Mark, good morning. He's jumping in late. Hey, I'm late too. Sports card breakers doesn't exist in 1990. Don West is the version of Whatnot today, ahead of his time. There it is. It's relative. Carrie, what's going on? I miss the days where every new series had its own insert, like the 71 Topps coins. Maybe that's the problem. Am I still living in 1990? You might be. You might be. Orlando says different times. Now everyone looks for the same hit card. Our hit was a card we didn't have to complete the set. Absolutely. And there are still set collectors out there. It's less about the set now. And we've got to remember Topps, Fanatics, Panini, Upper Deck. These are companies, these are for-profit companies. And their job is to make money. Their sole purpose is to make money as a business, not to make us collectors happy. And I think we often forget that. And why are there less set collectors? And I think part of the reason there are less set collectors is the companies are less focused on the set and more focused on the hit. And why is that? The hits drive money. And what are they in business for? To make money. Gem City says we didn't have social media. That's the biggest difference in collecting. We are exposed to many voices and influencers more quickly versus a magazine. And that's a good point. Oh, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that was something else that was brought up was now we have Card Ladder and Market Movers and you know, was Beckett like that? Absolutely. Beckett was the Market Movers and Card Ladder of 1990. We also have to remember, we didn't have the internet in 1990. I think Al Gore had invented it, but you know, we the peons didn't have the internet. It certainly wasn't what it is. The news cycle, now it's instant. Something happens in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, something big newsworthy. We know about it within seconds or minutes. We didn't know about it until the next day when we got the newspaper. And we certainly, that information, that pricing, imagine if the only sales of baseball cards were done at card shows and card shops in today's world. How fast are you getting that information? But that's not the case. We have the internet, we have eBay, we have Whatnot, we have all of these platforms that you can sell, and there's a paper trail. There was a paper trail in 1990, but it was actual paper. So Beckett was the Card Ladder and Market Movers of 1990, but things moved a lot slower in 1990. Low Roller says it's like playing skill games. You chase the jackpot. Once you hit the jackpot for the first time, hitting second time or third time, it's no longer exciting. Bargain Boxer says the hobby hasn't changed. It's the people who have changed. 100%. 100%. Stu, good morning. A lot of people watching Shop NBC, Shop at Home, Don West. There you go. Johnny M., good morning. Of course, it's changed. Everything has changed since 40 years ago. Cards, cars, houses, jobs, health, people, everything. On the surface, yes. At the core, no. None of that has changed at the core. At the core, nothing has changed. The people have changed. Well, that's part of it. The people have changed. The people are what's changing, but the mindsets are about the same. Prices are too high. In 2025, prices were too high in 1990. Shane says everyone has a strong opinion until they're in a room with important decision makers. Then it's crickets, a tale as old as time. Bargain Boxer says, speaking of 71 Tops coins, 71 days. Let's go. Hey, my hotel is booked. My hotel is booked for the National. Here we go. 71 days. Stuke says 40 years ago, we didn't have any problems getting the new releases. Every grocery store, Ben Franklin, gas station had boxes of cards on the shelves. We don't have problems getting new products today. Whatever the latest product is, you can go to Target.com and Walmart.com, with the exception of a few like products that can be flipped for more money. You can go to your Walmart or Target and find just about everything. Don West is the first sports card influencer. East Coast Tom is here. Companies used to be pushing bubble gum. Now it's just about the cards. Fleer had Double Bubble. Leaf also had some brand I don't remember. And of course, Topps had Bazooka. SCD was our YouTube. Max says, saying nothing has changed in the last 40 years is wild. That's all I will say on that. Everything and nothing has changed in the last 40 years. Everything and nothing has changed. Everything on the surface has changed. Nothing on the core has changed. Johnny says, when Exquisite Basketball first came out at $500 per pack, $1,500 per case, people went crazy. Who can afford that? It won't sell. I made a ton of money busting cases of it. The hit was what is promoted. It gets more wallets open. The sets have their target market. There are still collectors of everything. The sellers in this chat can confirm it. Absolutely. 100%. At the core, people haven't changed either. Everyone needs food and water, and we all need shelter and somewhere to poop. I'll agree with that. Absolutely. People haven't changed. I disagree with that, but we still need to poop. Unicorn Cupcake says, never bought cards for gum. Me neither. I think that shows the age difference here. I was not buying packs of cards for gum. Sports cards is worldwide now. Sports cards wasn't worldwide in 1990. Max says, Stuke, if you can't find anything at your Target, Walmart, go to your local card show and buy the product you were chasing and buy it for 2x. Nothing changed, though. TD Sports Cards, good morning. That dude from Duryea says, gum was better than those mini trivia things in Score. Those sucked, and they still suck today. I hated those in 1990, and I hate them when I go through old boxes today. Max says, same difference with how I view hobby changes, but it can go your way, LOL. There you go. Nothing has changed. Nothing and everything has changed at the same time. Fleer stickers. I actually like the Fleer stickers. I like them because you can, although they don't stick anymore, you have to like tape them if you want. Like, this is my Blue Jays box because I have a million Blue Jays cards, and you stick the Blue Jays sticker on the side of the box. What set you off down this road again? There was a video that I just had some opinions on it. And it wasn't that I disagreed with the content. Originally, I think Jeff Wilson put out a video. And one of his points was opening packs is more exciting today than it was whenever. And I don't agree with that, but I also don't disagree with it because, like we mentioned earlier, it's all relative. Like the packs, I mean, getting an autograph is a lot more exciting than getting a base rookie card, but it's all relative. We didn't have autographs to we didn't have a comparison in 1990 like we do today. You know, that was the hit. That was the only hit in 1990. So when you got it, it was exciting. We couldn't compare it to anything else because that was it. So that's where I disagree. Like, I mean, it's an incomplete. It's not more exciting. It's not less exciting. And we've changed. I was 8 years old in 1990. I don't even think Max was born yet. So I've changed a lot in 40 years. The hobby has changed a lot in 40 years. But at the core, I haven't really changed much in 40 years, and the hobby hasn't really changed much in 40 years at the core, although I probably have changed a lot more in 40 years than the hobby, certainly. Tom says Fleer gum, Topps gum greater than Fleer gum. Dat Dude says the gum gave us an unintentional parallel. Gum stain backs, which are now more popular than the base cards. Shows 40 years ago product was discounted and competition led to lower prices. Max says the only way I think you can argue his point is that you are putting more money on the line to open the product's higher level gambling. But that's also relative. You go back to, if you're chasing 89 upper deck, you're laying a decent amount of money on the line. What was, I think upper deck packs were $1, right? 99 cents back then. What was the federal minimum wage in 1990? And I know that it's not 1989. It's not like a linear. So $3.35 was the minimum wage. So you're paying $1 for a pack of 89 upper deck when the federal minimum wage in 1989 was $3.35. Today, so that's like 3x. Federal minimum wage is only $7.25 today. Wow. That's pathetic. So, 3x 725 is about $22 for a pack, so the upper deck hologram circles should still stick to boxes. I meant Fleer greater than Topps. Aha. There you go. There's a different level of cards now. You can't argue that. $36 a box for upper deck. So it would have been $1 a pack. So I think there were 36 packs in a box. Johnny says, I don't get the same thrill opening as I did as a kid. I do. I absolutely do. We didn't have a monetary value on each individual card. It was more exciting to pull a player from your team and trade the rest with friends. And I'm pretty sure Johnny's older than I am. But it was all about the money for me, But I also grew up in the late 80s, early 90s, where the hobby was much more monetized than it was in previous decades. My biggest thrill, aside from pulling, maybe I'd pull a Ryan Sandberg or a Mark Grace, certainly exciting for a Cubs fan. But I went straight to my Beckett to look up how much my Bo Jackson and Ken Griffey Jr. cards that I just pulled out of a pack were. Low roller finally hit a downtown this week. Then now what? Hitting second downtown wouldn't be the same. Max says, keep it there. Doesn't need to go higher. Shouldn't make a living off minimum wage. Don't go there today. That dude says 425. Johnny M says, much older than you, 65. So 20 years. So you're late 60s, early 70s. So yeah, I'm sure the hobby was, obviously it was a lot different. It's a lot different today, but has it really changed? Has it really changed? At its core, the complaints are the same today as they were 20 years ago, 40 years ago, and probably 60 years. Johnny, I want to ask, since Johnny's in here and Bargain Boxer, you're both in your 60s. So in the late 60s and early 1970s, did your parents complain about the price of cards? And what were prices of cards? A dime a pack? 20 cents a pack? I don't know what they were up to in the 60s or early 70s, but I'm curious. Because my parents complained about 50 cents for a pack, and I'm sure their parents complained about a nickel a pack in the 50s. Johnny says, I would have traded you a Mickey Mantle for a Tom Seaver. Max says, according to a CPI calculator, $36 in May 1990 has the same buying power as $89 today. Low Roller says, I have side hustle to look for free bonuses than rely working minimum wage. Tom says, agree with Johnny M. Us old farts collected, you young whippersnappers gamble. Well, I'm happy that I'm a young whippersnapper. But it was absolutely gambling when I was a kid. I was 8 years old gambling, opening packs of cards, hoping to pull that $1.25 Ken Griffey Jr. I went straight to my Beckett. How much is this Jerome Walton rookie card worth? It's a $4 card. I only paid 50 cents for the pack. I was absolutely all about the money in 1989, 1990. Unicorn says you can make more than minimum wage for 40 hours on skill games or panhandling at every intersection on the west side of Madison. Ziggy No says how much growth in the hobby is directly related to the U.S. Supreme Court legalizing gambling in 2018? Is it a coincidence the hobby is growing exponentially since? This is a really, really good point. And I think there is a direct correlation because the products and breaking, and I'm a fan of breaking. You know, I'm not, when I offer my stance on breaking and say it's gambling, it's absolutely gambling. I mean, really, when you put it down, you know, when you boil it down, buying a box of cards is also gambling. Especially now that there's more money tied into the card market. But I think Ziggy's on point right here. You know, with the legalized gambling, I mean, you can't go on DraftKings here in my state, in Wisconsin, but you can go across the border into Illinois and you can gamble on DraftKings. And there's a lot of similarities to breaking and gambling. Johnny says, honestly, don't know what they were paying as I didn't have to worry about the price. George says, 89, I could work an hour cutting some grass and buy a pack. Now need to work 50 hours for what packs are you buying to work 50 hours? My goodness. I mean, you can go buy a blaster. Now, I know blaster boxes have gone up, but you can buy a whole blaster box for $30. Hopefully you make more than $30 in a 50-hour week. Stuke says parents didn't complain 5 cents or 10 cents. Parents didn't care 58 years ago. That's interesting. Now, I wasn't around, so that surprises me, though. That does surprise me because my dad was complaining about 50 cents back in 1989. Gem City says, I still buy $12 to $14 blasters at Walmart. Nothing changed. See? Bargain Boxer says packs were 10 cents. No shows, no shops, no magazines with cards. Jody says, I used to go to the wholesale market in Brooklyn and bought them by the box at the candle wholesaler, buy candy to sell at school to pay for it all. Unicorn says it was gambling, playing multiple games with the cards, with the prize and bet being sports cards for decades before I started collecting. Ziggy says, I am a breaker. I love breaking. I love poker too. I play lotto. What's wrong? Nothing wrong with it. Absolutely nothing. But it is gambling. It's absolute. Lotto is gambling. I think, I think, now this is only my opinion. I think the lottery is stupid, but that's only my opinion. But I love breaking. I don't break. I don't play poker. But it is all gambling. It is all gambling. There's nothing wrong with that, but gambling can lead to the problems we're talking about this morning. Skill games, whether he likes it or not, also gambling. Gem City says breaking makes certain products available to people like me who won't buy a box of national treasures, etc. Exactly. I don't participate in mini breaks. When I do, it's typically like Bowman. Back in the day when Elite Extra Edition was still around, because I didn't want to buy Elite Extra Edition boxes, I would, buy Pick Your Team Cubs. I haven't participated in a break in a while. I don't think I did, but the Bowman draft checklist for the Cubs sucked last year, so I didn't participate. But yeah, I mean, I love Pick Your Team breaks, but I'm doing that as a collector. It's not a gamble for me. Not that there's anything wrong with gambling. But for me, I would buy into breaks as a collector because I wanted Bowman Cubs. And I know at the minimum, I'm getting at least a base set and a couple chromes. And maybe I get lucky and I hit a big autograph or just an autograph in general. And, I had to be careful with, the price points. And it's like, well, Or if it's like Matt Mervis, it's like, well, I'm not, he's hot right now, so the prices are up, but I think he sucks. He does. I'm not buying into this break because I'm not buying into any of these breaks because I feel the Cubs are overpriced based on the talent that's in the product. But oftentimes there are, and that's what I love about Bowman. Sometimes I get them really cheap because at release, the players in the checklist aren't the hot thing, but in a couple of years, they do become the hot thing. That's how you get Dylan Cease autos for a couple bucks and Justin Steele first Bowman Chromes for a couple bucks. Autos. Bargain Boxer says, I had a paper route to fund packs. My parents never gave me a penny when I was a kid. I had to earn money. I didn't walk around with Klarna money at shows. What is Klarna money? Klarna money. Unicorn says, my mom bought me a couple packs when I was a kid, and I felt bad she wasted money when I would get crap in the pack. Ziggy says, kids who collected as kids are often from upper middle class. Poor kids didn't collect cards. Trust me, we needed the money. So most people romanticizing the 80s and 90s were from happy families. I can tell you I was not from an upper middle class family. I was definitely on the lower middle class to poor side, and I got cards. No, but growing up where I grew up, I know that I also had it better off than others. Dead Dude from Duryea says it has been gambling for years before that. In 2011, I was buying triple threads for $175, hoping to hit big. Bargain Boxer collected cards, and nobody was poorer than me. Mowed lawns, paper route, collected pop bottles for return, and normal work on family farm to pay for cards. Unicorn says, I just don't get not opening your pack to see what's inside. Seems weird. I'm a geezer. Get off my lawn. Because, and here's why. Because I don't want, when I buy into breaks, I don't want the other stuff. And frankly, it's not that I don't want the other stuff. I don't want to pay $300 for a hobby box of Bowman. That's why I buy into breaks. I buy into a break for Cubs because I want the Cubs cards. And I pay a fraction of that $300. That's why I like breaks. Low Roller says, I got a video. Which one is better investment, buying sports cards versus buying scratch tickets? Neither. Johnny M says, picking up a 20,000 card lot today for $200 to $300. I'm gambling that I will make money on it. I love it. I love those gambles. Sports cards are not an investment. Unicorn says, will you do another this week, Low Roller? Ziggy says, the only ones not admitting it's gambling are those using their kids to collect and make money. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. One of my biggest pet peeves. It's for my kid. Oh, come on. I'll give you these 88 Donruss Cubs. My kid collects Ohtani. Oh, sure. No kid in here is losing money. Can we kick the kids out now and bring in virtual drinks? Unicorn says sports cards are more fun than silver or gold. Absolutely. Cheers to the Bargain Boxer. Stuke says, Ziggy, we weren't rich, had an outhouse, wore hand-me-down clothes, never went on vacations. Bargain Boxer says agrees with Unicorn. Gem City says the Pokemon Pocket app gives free digital packs. My sons get excited for two things. One, pulling the full art card, or two, pulling a new card for the set. Bargain Boxer wants to know how old Stuke is. Who in this chat is 60 or older? I think we have at least three. We have Stuke, Bargain Boxer, and Johnny M. Stuke's going to be 67 in a month, fully retired. Bargain Boxer just hit 62 and collecting Social Security to pay for my hobby. Let's see. Max says 100% cards are gambling. 100% certain cards are investable assets. Now, I will agree with that. I don't like the blanket statement of, hey, Jody's in the 60-plus club. I do agree that certain cards are investable assets. I do agree with that. And I said it earlier, and can I walk my comment back when I said cards are not a good investment? Most cards are not a good investment. And I don't like it when people say cards are not investments. I don't like that, because there are absolutely investable assets, as Max pointed out here. Absolutely. I would baseball cards, I would point out that the Hannes Wagner T206. Now, people aren't collecting that because it's out of their price range, most people's price range. But I wouldn't really put that it is a collectible, but I'm putting that in the investable assets category. The 52 Topps Mickey Mantle, while there are a lot more 52 Topps mantles out there, it's still, pretty rare and very expensive. The floor on a 52 mantle is what, $25K? And that number keeps going up. It's a pretty damn good investment. A lot of vintage goes up over time. I mean, does vintage, like, now with exceptions like the COVID boom, which didn't really affect the vintage market. I think it was a little delayed, and I'm not swimming in that pool. I don't know if Mark's still around. He's in that pool. I know others in the chat can probably speak more knowledgeably. Is that a word? Knowledgeably about the vintage market. But I just from like a few snippets of my Cubs collecting, during the height of the boom, I had an opportunity to Allen and Ginter Cap Anson 1, SGC 1 with a clean back for $1,200. And I think I had just bought my e-bike. And so I'm like, I'll pay $1,000, but I'm not paying more than $1,000. I think he had it. It was on eBay. He had it listed for like $2,700, and I offered $1,000, thinking it would get auto declined. And I've told this story several times, and they countered at $1,200. Not only did I not counter, I just declined. I'm like, no, $1,000 was my price, and it sold not long after for probably $1,200, $1,500. And several months later, I think that was in like February or March. I think at the National that year, the cheapest one I found was $2,000, and it had a shitty back. And I offered the guy $1,500, and he's like, no, I'm not coming down from $2,000. In fact, I probably wouldn't even take $1,900 for it. Like, fuck. And now it's one of those where it's like, I don't really want it anymore. I mean, maybe at some point, but now it's like, I have more fun buying. Now, I do enjoy and love my pre-war collection of Cubs cards, but at the same time, I get more joy out of digging through a $1 autograph box and finding a random autograph that I don't have. Like, I get more excited finding minor league Cubs autographs from the 80s and 90s. And it's like, oh my God, I never thought I'd find this guy. So I'll just buy 5,000 of those. And that's a poor investment, by the way. What would you rather invest in? $5,000 for Cap Anson, Allen and Ginter, or 5,000 no-name autographs that I'm probably the only one that wants? Because I guarantee you, if I paid $5,000 for 5,000 shitty Cubs autos, it's like buying a car. Those assets have depreciated as soon as I hand the cash over. And now these are worth $1,000 or less. Where are we at? Ziggy Doe says, appreciate your chat. Thank you. Happy to have you here. Max says, thank you to BB, or you're welcome to BB. Bargain Boxer says, Ziggy is on my Mount Rushmore. Low Roller says, adult camping on GameStop for Pokemon. The scalper said it is for their kids. They bring their entire family to camp out at GameStop for Pokemon. Gem City says, V friends to the moon. Johnny retired at 62, collecting Social Security since, thanks to that not real money called Bitcoin. Low Roller says the scalpers are lying since it is for their kids for getting Pokemon cards. Ziggy No says, is marijuana an investment? I'd argue it could be. Same with cards. If you don't use and only flip, they're both the same consumer goods with market desire and value. Max says, yes, there are plenty of ways you can invest in pot already. Stocks, ETFs, etc. Been around for years. I made some decent money on some pot stocks when Canada legalized it. Oh God, Cap Hansen, here we go again. It's like the story of 2017 Bowman. It's the story that never ends. I'm going to be telling it till the day I die. In 2017, I paid $797 for a hobby box of Bowman. A couple years later, Unicorn says, I was thinking of getting an A or one mantle as an investment, but I also think stocks, CDs, or other avenues might be more stable over a 5 to 10 year period. Low Roller says, speaking Bitcoin hit 106,000 this morning, almost all-time highs. Max says, Unicorn, that's what I heard from a bunch of people 5 years ago. 100% stocks are going to be more stable, but more stable always means you're giving up more earnings potential. Yes, the potential is the draw to certain rare semi-liquid cards. That dude says stocks will cost you capital gains tax in the long run. I don't think card appreciation would be taxed. Not until you sell, but get taxed either way. You'll get taxed. Max, it also depends on your market. Uncle Sam can't see all the cash all the time. Then that is called tax evasion, and you should go to jail. LOL. All right. I'm going to wrap it up. It's 9:30. Oh, because I was so late this morning. And so salty. Why am I so salty? Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, check out my eBay store, 99centcards.com. I think I'll go on eBay Live, take a drink tonight, 7 p.m. Central. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.